Blair Angulo here, Rivals.com with Edward Lewis, the publisher of BruinSportsReport.com. And Edward, we're here at the Semper Fidelis All-American Bowl Week practice with the West team, which features 5 UCLA commitments. Let's start with perhaps the most notable guy that stood out today, and that was Darian Owens.
Yeah, a quarter of the class is here, and Darian Owens was arguably the best, not only UCLA commitment here, but the best offensive guy here, period. I don't think there was a guy who had a better offensive day than him. We've known about Darian for a long time. We've had him in the Rivals 100, Rivals 150 for months and months and months. But one thing he's always struggled to do is catch the football. He's always had this athleticism, this quick burst. He's built like a little mini tank, but he's always been kind of a body catcher and not the most natural hands. And out here today, I think he only had 1 or 2 drops and caught basically everything else. Was explosive, caught people's eyes. We asked C.J. Pollard, the USC commitment, who the toughest wide receiver was about midway through practice, and he said Darian Owens. So promising sign for D.O. because a lot of people were wondering whether he'd be a safety or a receiver at the next level, but for now, looking like a pretty spectacular wide receiver, a guy that can make an impact right away.
And let's just say C.J. Pollard didn't name him. He just said that guy I was mouthing off with. So they're already starting that rivalry. Sticking with receiver, Theo Howard is a guy that every UCLA fan seems to be very excited about. Early enrollee has mentioned, the desire and the want to play with Josh Rosen already. How did he look out here to you?
Theo Howard's a guy that I expect to look a lot better on Sunday than he looked today. Basically because he hasn't played football in about a month and a half. If you remember, he even missed the last game of his career because of a concussion. So he really hasn't even played since, it was a couple weeks before even Thanksgiving. So been a minute, so you could tell a little bit rusty out here, dropped a couple passes, slipped a little bit on the field. Didn't look like his normal explosive self, like the top 50 player we all know he is. But still, you could see the traits. Very smooth, very athletic. We talked to DeVere Hamilton, the Utah commitment, the DB commitment. He said, that was the toughest guy for me to cover was Theo. So, still moving very well, still fluid, still athletic. Obviously not his best day, and he'll probably tell you that as well. But by Sunday, I expect him to be a playmaker on offense and a guy that we see light up the Semper Fi game.
The other receiver was Demetric Felton. How did he look for you? And obviously he's a different type of receiver than Darian Owens and Theo Howard.
Pretty much what we thought he'd be. They run a little bit similar offense to Knoll here. A lot of bubble screens, a lot of little quick flares and quick swings, and we got to see basically what Demetric's going to be at UCLA. He's not super physical, super big. He's pretty small, he's pretty short, but he'll tell you that. He'll admit that. But he's very quick, very special kind of in space. Guy that may need to redshirt, I don't really know. Because they've got a lot of F-backs now, especially they get Damian Alloway. Especially he needs to get a little more size on, be a little more thick, a little bigger. But a guy, explosive. He's what they want. A guy that's going to catch the football, make a guy miss, and get 10, 15 yards and possibly break one. So he showed enough today.
Yeah, my comparison, and I told Edward this during the practice, was kind of a Damian Thigpen for those UCLA fans that would want a comparison. Moving to the offensive line, Michael Alves, 4-star from the San Diego area, had a kind of a rough day.
Yeah, you could tell he's a run blocker. When in one-on-one pass rushing, I probably had him at 2 for 10 in terms of wins, which really isn't that great. But when you go over to the 11-on-11, I had him at 3 or 4 pancakes. He was pulling one time and hit a DB kind of to spring the running back. And so, he's a guy that's going to need to work on some footwork, going to need to clean up some pass blocking things. Obviously, that's why Adrian Clem's there to fix him. A lot less polished than I thought he was. San Diego, it's not a great hotbed for talent. So his film looked a lot better than what he showed out here today. But a guy with obviously some upside. A road grading kind of guard who once he works on his footwork, once he gets his body right, once he gets his quickness, he'll be a guy down the road. But he'll probably end up redshirting, at least from what I saw out here today. Needs a little bit more work. But he'll tell you that as well. These guys are pretty honest with themselves. Nobody's got this big head and this big ego that they're going to come in and start right away.
Yeah, and it was a little interesting to see a guy that decommitted from UCLA, Tolefoa Owae from Hawaii, have a really good day, just a couple spots down on the offensive line. So, and then moving on to the defensive side, the only UCLA commit that's on the defensive side, Oso Digizua, a familiar last name for UCLA fans.
Similar to Alves, in my opinion, a guy that whose film was obviously out of this world because he was playing in Oregon and was dominating guys every day, sacks on sacks. But out here struggled a little bit, not as polished. Traits, though, are there. Again, you can see these guys, they may not be as polished right now. They're not, the 4 and the 5-star top 50 guys yet. But long arms and physical, he has the desire, the heart, the passion. You see it in the 11-on-11s, he's getting after guys. But needs work. I mean, it needs to be polished up. His pass rushing skill set just wasn't there. The repertoire wasn't there yet. But he's got traits. I mean, he's a no-diggy-zoo first and foremost, and he's got the long arms, and he's kind of quick in short space. So he's got talent. Just going to be another guy that they're going to have to grow and develop, and Angus McClure's going to have to teach, kind of the whole pass rushing repertoire.
So that's 5 UCLA commits here in the Semper Fidelis All-American Bowl. On the West team, you can watch them Sunday night, 6 p.m. on FS1 in the Semper Fidelis All-American Bowl. For Edward Lewis, BruinsSportsReport.com, this is Blair Angulo.